hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Okay, the by-election results were out this morning. We've spent a long time talking about how insane it is that the Greens have won a small battle, of course, with sectarianism and cheating. I quote Nigel Farage. And we spoke about reform and what it means for them moving forward. But the biggest losers of the day really actually were the Labour Party. This was a Labour stronghold. This was somewhere that they could rely on for a safe seat. And many believed if Andy Burnham was actually able to stand in there, he would have won by a landslide. However, Keir Starmer blocked Andy Burnham from taking and standing in that seat. And Labour found themselves humiliating themselves, let's put it that way, with regard to the polling data. Now, of course, we heard Keir Starmer a little bit earlier on talking about what it means for him and what it means moving forward. And he seemed optimistic. But Labour MPs don't seem so optimistic in them. In fact, they don't hold back in a series of interviews. We've not just got one Labour MP, we've got two giving live television interviews saying that his position is untenable. Remember, just a couple of weeks ago, Keir Starmer was saying that it was all rosy after he addressed the Labour MPs and said it's all amazing, we're all together now, and I'm going to be the leader moving forward for the foreseeable future till the end of Parliament. However, I did say to you that fractures have still emerged inside the party, and you're probably going to have to wait. If they're a meltdown now after this by-election result, wait till you see the May local elections and the total wipeout that Labour are going to receive. Now, let's go into some of these video interviews from today of these Labour MPs not holding back when it comes to their leader, Keir Starmer, essentially calling him to step down on live television. As always, guys, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. And do get involved in the live chat. We'll be taking your reaction a little bit later on. Now, just to remind you, this was the results. We focused on the top two earlier on today, and we've spoke about the Greens and reform. But as stated, Labour are the sort of biggest losers of the day. You may see the Tories and Lib Dems. That doesn't matter. This was a Labour stronghold, guys. And look at how far behind they were in terms of the Greens. And both of them are left-wing nutters, right? The left-wing parties, and they're parties that kind of should have the same sort of values and standards that represented that constituency. Now, let's listen to some Labour MPs as they essentially don't hold back on Keir Starmer and his future.
What I think has enabled this to happen is the fact that we have basically systemically burned our base. We've chased after mythical voters who have no interest in voting Labour. We've alienated a vast swathe of that constituency on issues from Gaza through to immigration and asylum. The whole tone of this government is one that many people, and I heard it on the doorstep, you're not a Labour Party that I recognise, what happened to you? Look, the Labour Party changes, the Labour Party adapts, but it has a core philosophy, which is you want to improve people's lives and you want to have a politics which is inclusive. It doesn't make a difference if your banners say that. Your actual actions, your policies, your behaviour and how you come across to the public is what's important. And frankly, under Keir Starmer and the people around him, we have come across sounding like a pound shop reform in many areas. It's not something people recognise and it needs to change.
Should the Prime Minister go?
Look, we have an interim Prime Minister at the moment. How long that interim is will be up to the Parliamentary Labour Party. He will not be here for very long. He does not deserve to be here much longer. But it's for other people in the PLP, not just myself, to decide when that is. At the moment, if it went tomorrow, the only person I could see benefiting would be the Secretary of State for Health, Wes Streeting. And frankly, that would be more of the same. He's an acolyte of Peter Mandelson. There is no point electing Wes Streeting as our leader if that were to take place, because it would be more of the same. We need a radical reset, fundamental change, or we will have a reform government. And I'm afraid my colleagues and the rest of the party need to understand that.
So there you have it. That's the first Labour MP. And again, not holding back when it comes to Keir Starmer. This one even more so as he goes fairly nuclear on the Prime Minister and his position.
What did you make of the result last night?
Disastrous. But is it surprising? I would say no.
The Labour Party under Keir Starmer's stewardship is in the wrong place. There is no doubt about it. For me, it's actually past time for Keir Starmer to do the correct and honourable thing, and to put country and party as a priority and stand aside.
Is there any way he can turn this around, or does he have to go?
I think he's got to go. I think we've seen 18, nearly 19 months now of a Labour government that hasn't been living up to proper, real, core Labour Party values. We have done some excellent things, but nowhere near enough. I don't think Keir Starmer is the person to lead the party any longer. What's your concern then if he stays for the Holyrood election? Well, you can see my fear as well is that people won't actually appreciate this is an election on Scotland's needs. We have seen we're closing in 2 decades now of SNP failure with our public services are on their knees. NHS, Police Scotland, Scottish Fire and Rescue Service and much more. An education system in tatters. That's the choice that the electorate have got to focus on. It's not a referendum in Keir Starmer.
Well, it's bound to be. It's bound to play into that election, isn't it?
He's absolutely going to play a part on it. That's why it's overdue, as I say. It's time for Keir Starmer to go.
So yeah, I mean, as you can see there, that's a few that have come out publicly. We've seen others come out publicly through the newspaper and saying that Keir's position is untenable. And this just comes literally, 2 weeks after that whole Peter Mandelson debacle when Keir Starmer was hanging on by a thread and managed to galvanise, apparently, I quote, his MPs in supporting him and his project. However, things like that, results like that, the loss of identity that they have, the Labour Party apparently, finds themselves, again, a lot of people have got confidence in him whatsoever. And Keir Starmer was confronted this morning following this by-election defeat about his position, about leadership contests in and around, about Wes Streeting, and again, just kept on trying to peddle the same sort of narrative time and time again. But this guy's face, I'm going to give you an extract from him this morning, from that interview that we shared earlier. Look at his face. He's done. He's cooked.
Prime Minister, Labour held on to the area that you lost last night for almost 100 years. Labour got 50% at the last general election. You're now third. Your brand of Labour politics has been rejected by Labour voters. Your own cabinet and MPs are wondering whether you have it. Have you, or are you considering resigning?
It's a very disappointing result. Incumbent governments quite often get results like that mid-term, but I do understand that voters are frustrated, they're impatient for change. And I came into politics, late in life as it happens, to fight for change for those people who need it, the people who need an NHS that works for them, to be able to get a doctor's appointment when they need it, to get the money they need in their pockets to pay their bills, and to have a decent and better life. And I will keep on fighting for those people for as long as I've got breath in my body. I will also fight against the extremes in politics, on the right and the left, parties who want to tear our country apart. The Labour Party is the only party that unite our country and our communities, and we will line up together in that fight against the extremes of the left and the right for the values that we believe in.
It's not normal for a party to lose so soon after a landslide. Voters don't like you. You've tried to please Reform voters and it's failed. The left is split. You've lost the Muslim vote, and now the Greens have proven that they're a credible force. Labour risks going the way of the Tories. What are you going to change? Because it didn't sound from your answer there that you're going to change anything.
We were elected into government to change millions of lives for the better. That's why we've already passed the Renters' Rights Act. Better rights for renters that haven't been there for a generation. That's why we've passed the Employment Rights Act to give working people better rights at work. That's why we've invested in the NHS to bring our waiting list down. That's why we're giving a pay rise to the lowest paid in our society and making sure that people have the opportunities for them and their families. It is very easy for other parties to identify the grievance. That's the easy bit. The hard yards is providing the solution and turning the country around to improve the lives of millions of people. That is the mission, that is what we had a mandate to do, and that's what I'm laser focused on.
Well, in that, you can say that Keir is not necessarily focused. He's not going to change his way, despite the Labour MPs wanting them to change direction. And for us that are on the right side of politics, well, we don't really want them to change direction as such. But at the end of the day here, Keir Starmer is running out of ideas and he's obsessed with his competition. He's obsessed with reform. He's obsessed with reform and battling out with them, trying to defame them, than actually trying to do the job that they were elected to do. And regardless if reform was in the picture or not, they wouldn't be able to get on with the job that they were supposed to do because they're just clearly incompetent. But guys, we're seeing Labour MPs now come out publicly. This comes after that Scottish leader as well during the Peter Mandelson thing, calling for him to resign publicly on live television. That doesn't seem like a party that is that of tight unity at this moment in time. And it's only going to get worse when we creep up to the May local elections. I've been calling it. They're going to let him carry the can into the May local elections, and then they're going to force a leadership contest. And it's going to be some other left-wing nutter that's going to take over his position, probably Angela Rayner or Wes Streeting. Guys, let's get your reaction on this in terms of the Labour MPs that have came out against Keir. What do you make of Labour's sort of humiliation? We've spent a lot. I mean, you can talk about Greens, you can talk about reform if you want in the live chat, but we focused a lot of that this morning. What do you make of Labour's stand ground? They've kind of got off a little bit easy due to it seemingly being a battle of left and right between Reform and the Greens. But is this the end of the uni parties, guys? Are we seeing the true end of the duopoly of British politics? Is it going to be a case of Reform versus the Greens battling it out for a position to win the next general election? Add Restore into there as well. Well, it could be something like the uni parties are, of course, a thing of the past. How did Labour get over 9,000 votes? Well, the reason for that, mate, is because, I mean, you may say, well, they came third, but that's a Labour stronghold. They won by a landslide, I quote, in Gaunton and Denton just, 19 months ago? This is a place that they could rely on. This is a place that they would send their MPs to just, get a safe seat, so to speak. And this is where the tide has turned completely, that they've completely lost it. And they'll be raging that they've lost the Muslim vote as well up there. And to be fair, the Greens are probably going to nick that Muslim vote off of them. There's 4 million, 6 million Muslims in the UK. So, yeah, it looks like the Greens are going to be snatching them away from them, because that's all I felt that Labour had left was the Muslim vote. And that's why they were constantly pandering to them. But the Greens are going further and faster to garner that Muslim vote. So who are Labour going to actually have left? Just the people that have passed it down their family, that treat it like a football team, maybe like Jamie Carragher. Remember when he came out? Well, I always vote for Labour, no matter who the leader is, because that's what we do in the Carragher family. It's going to be those sorts of people that vote for them, but that's not going to be enough. It's going to be like the Tories, that they only get, a handful of seats, so to speak. So, yeah, it's really bad, really. You're saying only 9,000 is bad when you look at their results previously. Labour are finally realising the cracks are appearing. I mean, they've known for a long time. The infighting has been happening for a very long time. There's a massive, massive split in the Labour Party between the far left radicals and pretty much the cabinet, right? And people that have those Labour principles. But what you may see is these far left radicals move over to the Green. Like you've been seeing people from the Tory party go over to Reform. So again, you're starting to see that you say the cracks are emerging. The cracks have been emerging for a very long time within the Labour Party. But when it starts to affect these individuals and their seats could potentially be at risk, local elections, all of these kind of things, then that's what's going to, speeding up the process to try and call a leadership contest. But as I keep on saying, guys, it's not the party you want out. It's not the Keir Starmer that you want out, it's the party, because Wes would just be much of the same of Keir, maybe a little bit more left-wing. Angela would be super left-wing. Ed Miliband, well, would probably no longer have a country left. And David Lammy, well, I mean, the place would be nuked, most likely. And we'd be bankrupt because we'd be giving reparations away to Caribbean islands, probably. Green Party is a Trojan horse. I mean, people are gonna talk about the Green Party and make out that they're not a threat. You know what? After seeing those sorts of things, their tactics that they've been up to, I wouldn't be surprised if they do garner some more with their propaganda. You underestimate how dumb the British public actually are, right? The British public aren't that smart. A lot of them get fed their sort of propaganda from BBC. So yeah, they listen to things. They take things for, you know, for people's words, like Zach Polanski saying what he's going to do. A bit like Zora Mamdani, right? Zora Mamdani's approach in New York. It worked because people were easily susceptible to his words and his cons and his pledges. And as the people in New York are finding out pretty quickly, just after 6 weeks, that none of these things can actually happen. They were just, you know, they were just blatant lies that just wouldn't been able to be facilitated. And the Green Party does the same. And the problem with the Green Party is that they target the Muslims, firstly. One, bang, that's 6 million votes. Then you've also got young women, right? And this is nothing against the women, by the way, obviously, but a lot of women are easily manipulated when it comes to suicidal empathy. And you can see in the voting data under the ages of 50 that women are actually voting Greens. Like majority of women between ages of 19 to 50 are voting Greens. Much of their sort of 20% that they've currently got in the voting intention polls are from women in that bracket. And the reason to that, and I hate to say it, I'm not a misogynist or whatever, but women are a lot more easier to manipulate. And of course, some may be ruled by suicidal empathy. And that's the exact sort of heartstrings the Green Party are pulling. And yeah, that's what we're seeing in real time here. So if you do see a young woman, then make sure that she isn't getting susceptible to this kind of brainwashing from the Green Party, because none of this stuff, none of these manifesto pledges that they bring out are ever going to happen. They're never going to happen. No rich people are going to be taxed. They will fall onto the working class and into the middle class, leaving NATO, scouring our relationship, damaging our relationship with the United States, would completely destroy this country, denuclearizing our nuclear weapons, and then him going to speak to Putin just never will happen. Again, it sounds good on paper that Zach Polanski, the hero, is going to be going out to see Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin to have negotiations and talk about denuclearizing. Never going to happen. But again, some people actually believe that Zach is the savior, that he's going to be able to have those conversations with those individuals. Yeah, but that's when I start to question the intelligence of the British public. Then it goes even further. They're going to open borders, an open border society. So illegals will also be getting housed and be getting jobs. So the same individuals that you see in the headlines will be getting more benefits. And then even further, legalizing drugs, but not to a point where you see the old Swiss model, that there's junkies out there in the world that need to try and, you know, be segregated from society. So the Swiss government essentially have centers where they give them the drugs, which in a way essentially stops crime and allows them to do it safely, but they have to be prescribed by a doctor. This lunatic just wants to legalize crack cocaine, legalize heroin, and just have us, you know, cutting about high. The country will be completely ruined, but people actually think that this guy is able to make change. So yes, it won't be the answer, but guys, I speak about the Greens because they currently got a 20% polling intention, and people talk about reform and the growth that they've done in a short period of time. The Greens, you weren't even talking about them a year ago. Imagine how much more that they can grow between now and 3 years' time, especially with Labour shipping off their voters out the other side. So there is a realistic possibility it could be a straight shootout between Reform and between the Green Party, which again, insane. Absolutely insane when you think about it and talk about it. Hey, don't mock Sir Oinks-a-Lot. Sir Oinks-a-Lot did well, to be fair. To be fair, he actually beat the Advanced UK candidate. I mean, I like Ben's party. I like Ben, actually. I like Ben Habib and what he stands for. But it might be time to, I don't know, with Advanced UK, it doesn't seemingly look like it's going too well. I seen Mr. Paul Thorpe, a YouTuber. He recently resigned from their party. It doesn't look too rosy over there, and especially when you lose to Sir Oinks-a-Lot. I don't think there's too much coming back from that. But again, let's see what Restore Britain's impact is, by the way. Did Zach hypnotize them women to vote? Possibly. Possibly. I don't know. He has the history of being a hypnotist, doesn't he? But either way, I think a lot of women do need to have the arm around them. I'm not saying everyone. We've got a lot of female viewers on here, and they're completely awoken. They know exactly what's going on. They're not easily manipulated. But I'm just saying, by the Greens polling data, there's a huge problem in women under the age of 50 that are looking to the Greens for their answers, and that's insane. But it's up to the guys and the women that have already been awoken to tell them that they're being dumb and speak to them about it and say, well, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. None of their pledges will ever happen, and that's the truth. It isn't because they think he's hot. No, exactly. The guy has a face like a ripped out fireplace. It's not as if he's a hunk and they're all behind him. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's jokes. Greens will be covering the town in rainbows. Yes, whilst also getting the Islamist vote. But the problem with Islamists in the UK, they're well organized. And they vote to see what is best for them. And whilst they have the Greens have a sort of gay Jew as a leader, they don't care, right? Because none of the Greens' policies that they ever brought in, if it come to a general election, would be good for them, because it's like oil and water, right? They don't mix. They're not going to mix. They have complete alien and views together, right? LGBTQ, all this other stuff of drugs, it's all haram in Islam. But what they're trying to do is vote for the party that they feel that they're going to feel the best in, that they're going to benefit in. So yeah, they will stick with the left-wing lunatics, the far-left lunatics, just to be able to get themselves into positions which are going to benefit them. And that's the reality there. We want a general election now. Love your channel, big lad. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much for your kind words. Yes, we've been talking a little bit. Thank you for tuning in. We've got plenty more stuff coming up for the rest of the day as well. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on these Labour MPs now coming out publicly on television interviews. How long do you think Keir Starmer has got left? And yeah, if you want to rant away about the Greens or talk about reform or talk about restore, jump down in the comment section below and let me know what you're thinking. I'll jump down there afterwards, guys. As always, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more.